I think we're on. What's going on, Jerome's? So it was less than ideal. It was not great. And there's a lot of frustrations all the way around, but you do have to give it up to the Vikings fans who wanted this team to lose intentionally. They got their wish, and this is what they wanted. Where, I understand the season has been frustrating, and with all the injuries and with all, the gong show at quarterback, it's been tough. And especially losing Kirk, especially losing Hawk, especially losing, JJ for 7.5 games. Really tough and frustrating, but trying to make chicken salad out of chicken bleep, and eventually the Vikings just hit midnight on Cinderella, and this was a rough game. And the whole thing about it is people actually wanted this. Like Vikings fans actually wanted this to, pip up in the draft order, which is not a direct correlation for success, but so it is what it is. But again, hey, at least they're happy. So the Vikings get their asses kicked. It's one of the worst home losses against the Packers in franchise history. Also, the Vikings end up 2-6 at home, which is just absolutely pathetic. But here we go. People celebrating better draft picks like that's completely correlated to I just want to win a Super Bowl. Okay. Yeah, but the whole thing is, with O'Connell, you don't know what to think, because at a certain level you're starting to think, hey, maybe Kirk Cousins was the guy who made Kevin O'Connell. Right, and maybe the 13-4 and the division was more about Kirk. And frankly, I think Kirk Cousins made himself some money this season, or at least some appreciation, because it honestly still feels like Kirk is one of the more polarizing players in team history. Like, some of the fan base is behind him. Some of them hate his guts, and they have ever since he got here in 2018. But just seeing the gong show at quarterback, it's been ridiculous, and it really does make you appreciate Kirk Cousins. And remember, like, JJ is putting up all those stats. Someone is throwing him the ball. And Kirk is going to be 36, coming off an Achilles. His free agent prospects may not be that high, so we'll see. Extrovert, $2, re-sign Kirk. I agree. I think the best course of action for the Vikings, it's a couple things. Re-sign Kirk, extend JJ, re-sign Daniil, although where the hell has Daniil Hunter been the last 2 games? Draft a quarterback day 1, day 2, and go from there. And completely revamp the defensive line. It's pathetic how they just had the line of scrimmage reset on them over and over and over. D Margs, $10. Hello, darkness, my old friend Skull. That's right. Well, hey, if you can't laugh, you gotta laugh so you don't cry or break a TV. I got a question or comment. Toss it in the super chat. Go ahead. All right, but I mean, this game was just mind-numbingly bad. So the defense gave up 9 of 14 on third down, 470 yards, 6.4 yards per play, which is ridiculous. 4.5 yards a carry, 177 on the ground. Just almost got doubled up in time of possession. Just why? Man. The Sir Scott $5. Just throw 3 seasons in the middle of the Lions season are not getting us anywhere. Try to change and go 0-17 for 3 seasons. Tired of this. All right, so here's the thing. When I'm not even going to get into it, because it's such a loser mentality. And you think about it, like, the Jets have had so many down seasons. Do they magically rise from the dead? Again, I fully understand the frustration of every season going 9-7 back in the day, or 8-9, 9-8, blah blah blah. And the thing about it is, you don't go from 0-17 to winning the Super Bowl. You add pieces along the way, and just because you have a higher draft pick doesn't mean that you're going to get a better player. But it comes down to, hey, you need a good GM. You need a good scouting department to be able to identify players that no matter what stage of the draft, whether you're drafting high in the first round, middle, back. I mean, look at the Ravens. Look at the Niners. consistently drafting at the back end of the first round, but they're finding value. They're hitting on stars day 3, as well as they're shoring up with quality free agents. They're hitting on value trades, and hell, most of the time, like, Baltimore doesn't even draft in the first round. They trade out. And the times that the Niners have had high first-round picks in recent years, they took Solomon Thomas and Trey Lance. All right, so again, higher draft pick is not the be-all, end-all. And also, I understand the frustration right now, so gonna give a little leeway, but you really want 3 straight 0-17 seasons? It's just jar $3. What up? Extrovert $5 was a good idea for Kevin O'Connell to yell at Flores. Who knows, man? I feel like everyone should be yelling at everyone right here. Martin Aranda $5. I'm concerned at our ability to evaluate talent. That's the thing too. Like people who don't trust Kwesi sure want him to have a higher draft pick, or act like, hey, Kwesi's not going to trade out from like the number 10 pick. I mean, come on. Although, again, this is a very deep quarterback class, and frankly, if the Vikings came away with Penix or McCarthy, maybe even Bo Nix in the first round, would be happy. I think that Williams and May and McDaniel are going to be a little bit pie in the sky, or Daniels. Nah. No, it would be so confusing having Jaden Daniel and Jaden McDaniels in the building at the same time, man. Tim Paul and $10. Thanks for the years of coverage, Andy. Tough year. Thank you. Sort of is what it is. Let's see. Thomas Larson, $5. I don't understand why people want the Vikings to tank. That's not the answer. I want to see this team make it to the Super Bowl. If we don't tank, that's the thing too, where it's not about losing, draft pick. It is about talent retention. It's about talent development. It's about building a winning culture. And yeah, I hate to give credit to the Lions, but think about them week 18 last year in Lambeau. They were eliminated, but they had a chance to knock the Packers out of the playoffs. And I mean, a lot of Lions fans are probably like, hey, you should lose so you improve your draft pick. Because I think they ended up drafting 18. They probably could have improved to 15 or 16 or something like that. But they went into Lambeau and pissed on the Packers campfire. It's exactly what you need to do. It's about building a winning culture. Do you think tonight's going to help build the culture? Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's see. W Vang, $5. If we get a top 10 pick, what do we do? Resign Kirk and take BPA, or take a quarterback? How am I comfortable paying Kirk? How many years? I would do a 2-year deal with Kirk, $40 million per, which is about the market rate. I actually think his market could be depressed a little bit because of his injury. But also, I think that recent quarterback play could provide him a little bit of leverage, or the Vikings could roll with a rookie, which is dangerous. But we'll see. Julian, I missed one. Wow. Julian Vivas. Me being LDS and because I'm a BYU fan, what will happen to Jaren Hall? Also, Vikings trade for Zach Wilson. I think Jaren Hall will be fine. Like, he's on his rookie deal, so he's going to be around. And it's clear that O'Connell and Phillips are interested in his development. And frankly, the first half, you put some of the blame on him. You can't put all the blame. A lot of people were banning about, well, Jaren Hall had two turnovers in the first half. Okay, one was a deflection that Munt should have caught. I was a little bit behind him. And the second was a strip sack. How do you put all those directly on Jaren Hall? I don't really understand. But I think he does have some upside. And frankly, well, if he becomes like a decent backup veteran bouncing around the league for 10 years, I feel like that's good value for a fifth-round pick. Also, Vikings trade for Zach Wilson. I don't know. I feel like there's too many good-looking moms in Minnesota. I don't think Zach Wilson could focus in the great state. Our expert, $2. Do you think that JJ doesn't want to resign? Days like this certainly don't help, because with JJ, it's not about the money. It's about winning, man. Skull and Bones, $5. I love you, Andy. Our defense and O-line crap the bed. Enjoy the New Year's, my guy. Absolutely. So we haven't even gotten to the takeaways. Yeah. And so first off, that is your effort. So Vikings, with the Seahawks loss, they regained control of their own destiny. So 2 wins and they were in, and no matter what happened. But that is your effort. And with Kirk blowing the Gallahorn, and this entire team just came out flat. and the defense reverted. I mean, they honestly looked like Donashell last year. The offensive line was horrible, but the analytics say that they're really good. They weren't today. They weren't yesterday. They weren't last week. They weren't against the Bengals. Also, turnovers were a killer. Yes, the interception and the strip sack were just really tough to put the Vikings behind the 8 ball in the first half. 3, Kevin O'Connell half pregnant. So what was the plan here? Like, I understand that Mullins had 4 interceptions against the Lions, but also you were in it at the end, and also Mullins and the offense did put up 24 points in back-to-back games against the Bengals as well as the Lions, and I understand the frustrations. Like, hey, if Jaren Hall just takes care of the ball, you're good. But Mullins being a veteran, Mullins being in this offense for the last 2 years. I mean, did he give you the best chance against the Lions or best chance against the Packers? Possibly, potentially, right? Or was this game sort of a, hey, we're giving up on the season. We're going to see what Jaren Hall has, and we'll go from there. I mean, he looked good on the second drive against the Falcons, right? So which one is it? I feel like Kevin O'Connell was trying to thread the needle here, but he ended up being half pregnant, which you can't do. So you're trying to win the game, trying to put up points, Mullins is a guy. If you're trying to see what Hall had for the future, go with that. But also the Vikings need Kirk Cousins back. All right. Again, I understand. You want to turn the page? Yes, but also this team, in their competitive rebuild, I mean, in their minds, they are in win-now mode. This isn't a... the fans, all they want could say, hey, tear this thing down and completely rebuild. The Wolves aren't going to do that. Quasey's not going to do that. Kevin O'Connell's not going to do that. So it's a fantasy. It's a pipe dream. It's not going to happen. But Kirk being back does give this team the best chance to win. And frankly, if Kirk didn't pop his Achilles, I mean, the Vikings would be sitting very pretty. I think that they firmly would have won the division. I think that Kirk would have been in the MVP race, but he did, and now they're not. Also, what the hell happened to the defense? It just seems like since the fourth quarter of the Bengals game, they were just broken. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just so frustrating to watch. I mean, they were so good for that long stretch, and then they just ended up giving away now. Also, injuries and excuses. So you could say, yeah, I mean, Hawkinson got hurt. Kirk was hurt. And JJ was hurt for a while. Fully understand that. But look at the Browns. I mean, the Browns are on the QB 4-2. They lost Chubb. They lost several starters, several key starters. And I understand that they do have a top 3 defense, but it's just frustrating, man. And I do think that Kevin O'Connell is on the warm seat heading into 2023. Not the hot seat per se. And, yeah, you can point to injuries and circumstances all you want about this season. And I think he does have a little bit of a scholarship because of 2022. But, I mean, at a certain point, I mean, the no-call, no-show for this game is pathetic. The effort was pathetic. The decision-making at quarterback, going back and forth between Mullins and Hall, and also the Passionate was in the mix too. I mean, what? Also, he doesn't get a pass for losing very winnable games because of injuries, because they're very winnable with existing personnel against the Bears, against the Broncos, against the Bengals, against the Lions. Maybe not this one. Thomas Larson, $2. At least Greg hit the field goals. In our winners and losers video, it might just be Najee Thompson and Greg Joseph as the winners, man. But speaking of which, Najee Thompson, give him all 53 game checks. Actually, I think there's only 52 on the 53 right now. But either way, give him all the money because. So we're going to rewatch the game tomorrow, even though it's going to be painful. Watching the All-22, coaches will as well. There were some players that completely quit. And not even talking about the second half, talk about in the first half, first quarter. I mean, this team got punched in the mouth, sure, and some guys just folded. Some guys literally just stole a game check today, and it really it hurts to say. I mean, because also I'm the purple positivity guy, but it was just pathetic. But Najee Thompson, lifetime contract. He's Matthew Slater. He's fantastic, man. I love it. Also, was this potentially the last home game for Harrison? So Harrison up there in age, reworked his contract, took a massive pay cut, and if the Vikings, last off season they turned the page from Thielen Dalvin, Kendricks, Patrick Peterson. Let Dalvin Tomlinson go because the Browns paid him $14 million per year. I think that Harrison might retire because he's due like 14.4 next year for his base. So either it's another massive pay cut or I think Harrison retires. So we'll see. Evan Alberg, $2. Did you see the Vikes going corner first round? Potentially. I mean, Kool-Aid McKistry is great. The Clemson guy is great. I mean, Caleb Evans been a problem the last couple. I mean, he got benched against the Lions, and he was getting picked on by the Packers today, but stuff. Either way, we're on to Detroit, and you know what's crazy? All right, so what is that? Oh, that's last week. All right, so the crazy thing is, as of right now, here's the draft order. Vikings currently at 13. Get this into frame. There we go. I think they can potentially get. They're going to need a lot of help to get into the top 10, but we'll see what happens. And as of right now, the Vikings' playoff chances are at 4%. They obviously dropped to 0 if they lose to the Lions, but even if they beat the Lions, which Detroit may or may not be playing their starters, pending on what Cam wants to do. Of course, it's Dan Campbell. Of course, Dan Campbell's the guy that hits on 20. At blackjack. All right, so the Vikings, let's see here, week 18 games. All right, so the Vikings need the Bears to go into Lambeau and win. The Vikings would benefit from the Falcons beating the Saints because the Vikings have the head-to-head there. And then they would need the Cardinals to beat the Seahawks. So 4 things need to happen. Vikings beat the Lions. Bears beat the Packers, Falcons beat the Saints, and the Cardinals beat the Seahawks. Now, this would be the perfect storm because the people who want the Vikings to improve draft position, that's fine, but then they end up making the playoffs. I think it's pretty unlikely, and we'll see. Like, looking at Detroit, like I'm fine if they want to play the young kids, since the Vikings' playoff chances are minuscule. Although with injuries, I mean, you don't even have many young kids. Like, who are you going to play? Andre Carr II, as well as Dwayne McBride? Sure. I mean, do you throw Jaron Hall back out there again? I don't know, man. But either way, frustrating game. And again, it's so weird. Like, I sort of get the improved draft position, but again, that's not a direct corollary to success. But actively wishing that your team gets their ass kicked at home in a standalone primetime national television game against your hated rival, I don't get that. Well, what's the point of even playing the games? Just forfeit. But yeah, that effort and execution, terrible. Not good. Lots of questions. O'Connell as a head coach. Kwesi as a talent assessor. Flores, where the hell did that defense go? Unless the defense is just playing bad to try and keep Flores from getting a head coaching job. Who knows? Again, gotta laugh so you don't break TVs or cry. Who knows, man? But we'll have winners and losers video out here in short order. You guys are the best. Keep Skull alive. Lots